Hello,
Hi, Nick. It's good to
how's
see
it
you again.
going?
Good.
Likewise, how have you been?
I've been okay. How have you been?
Good, good. I'm glad you made it to the shifted mentoring meetup here. Sorry about last week if you joined and found nobody there, or found folks but decided to bail.
Well,
I misunderstood um, the daylight savings shift, and I'm
we had
prepared.
that issue this morning too. There was me, Jay, and Rianne here at 9 a.m. New Zealand time. But it's 10 a.m. New Zealand time.
Right. Hopefully we figured it out this time.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, I just because everybody shifts at like a different point as well, so it's just like just really annoying. So here we are. Let's wait a couple more minutes here just for more folks to come online.
Yep.
I think Ali. Hello, Ali. I'm not sure if Jay's going to make it today. I didn't get a chance to chat with him. I think maybe Rian can make it today. I'm not sure. Um,
Yeah, I think Rianne should be here, and Jay's going to try. He's in a meeting at the moment, but he might swing in
fair
if he
enough.
gets.
Fair enough. Hello, Ali. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How about
Good,
you?
good. I'm good. I'm less time addled now than I was. So thanks again for being patient with me and trying to organize some of these things. So let's wait another couple of minutes here. We'll start maybe 5 past.
Yep.
Just 'cause there's a couple of folks I think who might be coming in still. How are your flights back to your respective places after KubeCon?
It was
Mine
long.
was okay. Yeah, it was long, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
At least I had a direct flight, so it was okay.
There's a lot of value in a direct flight. My next big trip, I don't have a direct flight, and I'm so annoyed with myself. Um, I think there is a direct flight, but like I didn't think to check the airline that did it, and I'm like, oh my god! And then when I tried to change it, like the price was like 4x what my current flight was, so I'm just like, I can't shift it now. So
Yeah.
I always figured the closer to a flight you get, the cheaper the tickets should be, because I figure the airlines should be more desperate to sell them. But I think it's actually the opposite. I think that the closer to a flight you are, the more demand there is for the remaining seats. So it gets more expensive by orders of magnitude.
Yeah. There is probably a sweet spot, right?
Oh, I imagine. I haven't found it, but I imagine.
Yeah.
If any of you do find it, share it with the rest of us. It'd be
Right.
quite a
There
tips.
has to be that's what I want AI to figure out. That's the question I have. It's like, okay, I want to go to this place at this time. Tell me who's got the best direct and when should I buy the ticket? When will it be the optimal time? I don't want to figure that out myself. So, hello, Rian. I don't know if you can hear us yet or not, but um, so why don't we start? Um, I'm going to bring up the HackMD here. Ali, would you mind sharing that in the chat for us? Um, and just while we're sharing the agenda here,
Yep.
this is an official meeting of the CNCF, and so it follows the CNCF contributor guidelines. Is that the right phrase for it? Which we can essentially boil down to: please be kind to each other. Um, what is the word for that? It's not contributor guidelines. It's something else. It's
Code of
the
conduct.
Thank you so much. There we are. The code of conduct. So, um, so the first piece of info on the hello Jay, how's it going?
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. And just quickly, I've got to jump out at 10:30 as well. I've got a few things happening at the moment, just juggling stuff at the moment, but I will be as present as I can for that time.
Right on. Well, I think you're right up top of the agenda here. Last week, Jay, Ali, and I had a discussion, and Jay, maybe rather than me telling you your story, did you want to go through a little bit about the chairs and the changes happening there?
Yeah, briefly. Basically, there's been changing my role with II, so I've taken on a few extra responsibilities and stuff there, and caught up with Ali briefly about all the awesome work that he's been doing with the working group to date, and just overall been really instrumental in getting things to where they are at the moment, and the expression of interest in perhaps co-chairing. And also we had a bit of a catch up about what how that might best work with the size of our group and our directors and everything going forward. And I thought with everything that's sort of happening and all the changes, it might be good opportunity for me to step back and refocus on some of those things. Still want to be as active as possible in the group, still very committed and dedicated and excited about where things are going to go. But Ali stepping into that position as co-chair, I thought it was awesome progression for next things. So having a chance to formally congratulate you and back you on that, bro, but awesome. I know you're going to continue to do amazing things going forward. And like I said, I'll still be around to help out as possible. So,
and thank you so much for all of your help setting things up, and especially in working in the diversity space and trying to improve how we do those types of how we improve mentoring generally, and specifically, it's been really great having you around. And this is part of the reason we added the emeritus chair, is so that you can stick around, and we will be poking you for advice and information from time to time. So thank you so much for that. And again, congrats, Ali has been one of my go-to people for mentoring in general, and is in fact a CNCF not GitHub, Google Summer of Code admin already. And so I don't think that there's anybody I could think of who'd be better suited to step into the co-chair position. So thank you, Ali. I appreciate your willingness to donate yet even more of your time. Considering you're already a tech lead, I believe, in the tech contributor strategy group as well. So interesting with this one, you can be.
Yep. Thank you very much for offering the position, the chair position. And Jay, thank you very much for everything you've done. And I mean, this is not like a goodbye, I hope.
No.
So it's like just changing roles and trying new things. But I hope you will be around so we can still talk to you, and we can still ask your help.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think we can do moving forward, so that I think this maybe caught some folks off guard or a little bit as a surprise. I think that one of the things Jay and I discussed is potentially doing a scheduled rotation, almost like here in Canada, we're supposed to have elections every 5 years. It never quite gets to 5 years, but that's the idea. And so it might be an idea to put a rotation note on where maybe we do 18 months or 24 months as a chair, and then look to see if there's somebody else we can rotate in, depending on what the situation is at the time. So that, but that sort of getting that, what is the word? Succession plan in place might not be a bad idea, and worth considering at some point in the next, let's say, 18 months. Might not be a thing for next week.
So about this, I was, we kind of, I was also discussing some parts of this with you, and Jay, but we have an open issue in tag contributor strategy, in the main repository about contributor ladder, which kind of includes this. So if we have like
We're
proper
definitely part of
rules,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually pasting a link now in the in the in the chat as well. I was pasting in the document. So there are also like other confusions like facilitators, chairs, members, etc. But overall, we should not only define these, but also define how
Yeah.
what like how to
What each
select
role.
chairs and things like that.
That's a good
And
idea.
yeah.
Another role, actually, just to potentially define as a tech lead as well. And if the tag contributor strategy defines it at their level, I'm happy to adopt it at this level. I think that would be it would save us some time and some effort. No sense in reinventing the wheel.
Yep.
I'm going to subscribe to that. Okay. This is last week's agenda. Actually, before I move on, is there any other questions, comments, concerns about the new mentoring chair? I suppose we, Jay, if you have a moment, or if you haven't yet, could you put an LGTM on the PR for your,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
That way we get basically everybody involved having a +1, and I think we probably still need one of the liaisons to LGTM it before we get that merged in.
Cool.
But other than that, is there anything else folks want to discuss on the organization here?
Good for me.
Okay. What I was saying was that this is last week's agenda. I'm not sure how relevant now KubeCon 2023 debrief is, but if anyone's got any interesting comments from the week that was 2 weeks ago, I'd be happy to hear from folks, hear what you heard, hear about what you heard, thoughts, and all of that. What an awkward transition. Sorry, folks. I'll do better next time. Haven't had enough caffeine yet today. One of the things that wasn't directly involved with KubeCon, but over the last month, I've been having a lot of conversations with other mentors and other mentor admins. And one of the things that I'd like to do is update our org admins guide. This is the next. It didn't seem like anybody wanted to talk about KubeCon, so we're moving on to the next thing with what I'm hoping is a better transition. And I'd like to, as a project for the next maybe 6 months, maybe even fewer months if we can, I'd like to take what we've done with the Google Summer of Code org admin, and maybe some of the umbrella issues that we've done with the LFX. And I'd like to put together an org admin guide for the LFX program. I've had, we're coming to the end of this LFX term, and for whatever reason, this last term of both Google Summer of Code and LFX, we've had mentors basically drop out for at least a time, which is frustrating and stressful for everybody involved. We actually had one of on the LFX side, we had a mentee open up a support ticket with the LFX saying, "Hey, my mentor hasn't contacted me in weeks," and I've had missed evaluations on the LFX side and things like that. And so one of the things I'd like to do is shift some of how we're doing things to impress upon folks that yes, it's a voluntary position to be a mentor, but it's an important one. I think that if folks are late on evaluations, then that's a little bit of disrespect for the mentee, right, and the project, because the mentees are getting paid, right? Like we can't release stipend payments without a positive evaluation from the mentor. I also want to impress on folks that the mentees should be working full time, whatever we define full time as. I think probably between 32 and 40 hours a week is what I would think of as a full time position, which means that if somebody is agreeing to mentor somebody, they have to recognize that the amount of work that needs to be done, right, is not insignificant. And so the amount of time that mentors spend coaching should be sort of relevant to the amount of time that they expect that the folks are going to be working, right? And so one of the changes I'd like to do is I'd like to do like a Zoom meeting. Maybe we do two, depending on the time zones of folks. That I'd like to say is mandatory, where if you are going to be putting forth a proposal to be a mentor, then we set up a meeting saying, hey, here, you're all potential mentors. Let's have a talk. This is what is expected of folks. This is what the benefits are. Here's what the responsibilities are, things along those lines. And then maybe having a second one with everybody, mentors and mentees. That way we can start sort of building sort of community around these cohorts, right? These terms that folks run through. I'd also like to get a little bit more diligent about getting mentees to do blog posts. And initially I was thinking, okay, I'd like to do a blog post at the end of the semester, but I was also talking with other program administrators, and they have mentees do a weekly blog post. It doesn't have to be a long one. It's just like, okay, here's what I did this week. And that helps the administrator say, oh, okay, well, I've got 15 blog posts. Okay, everybody's done something this week, right? Which helps sort of, again, administer the program. And I think that as administrators, I think it's, I think next term or the term after, I think that we need to do a little bit more to sort of watch what's happening, either monitoring GitHub or things like that, to make sure that if somebody hasn't made a GitHub commit in 3 weeks, well, it's a 12-week program, and that's a quarter of the time that we just spent. So what's going on, right? And then we can find out, okay, well, maybe the program or the project isn't a GitHub heavy thing. Maybe it's a documentation thing where there's a lot of, but it provokes sort of questions and whatnot. And I think that's one of the types of things that I'd like to sort of get sort of further into in terms of how we administer these programs. Another thing I'd like to do, oh, what was it? I thought of it, but it's just sort of at the edge of my brain. Oh no.
No pressure.
Oh, nuts. I hate it when that happens. Shoot. But there's a few things I think that we can do better around sort of making sure that oh, it was, if you've been as a mentor, and again, I completely understand when, like, sometimes people get busy, sometimes it's hard to know how much time to really get. Sometimes stuff happens, right? But we have folks who have consistently been late with evaluations, right? Or projects that are consistently late. I'd like to, at the proposal phase, say, okay, well, I appreciate your proposal, but your project has a history of being made with these. What is the contingency plan? Like, how do we make sure that these get done on time? Because I think that it's important that these things get done on time. Now that can be, doing that in public can be a little bit dicey, because these are folks who, again, work for folks and have other responsibilities and whatnot. But if you're committing to being a mentor, it's a responsibility. So it's one of those things that I think we potentially might want to take a look at implementing. So that's sort of me talking a bunch about what I think of the Organ Min as it is. And Ali just walked away, so I'd like to maybe, because I'm going to ask you
He's had
folks what
enough.
you think. He's had enough. He's just like, okay, we're finished. There he is. So I just for Ali's, I'm just at this. So I've been talking a lot, and I'm just curious what your thoughts on those types of issues are moving forward into the next year, particularly since we're ending 2020 now, 2023. Jeez, it's been a long couple of years, and we're starting our next intake is going to be January or early February. So we're going to be asking for proposals reasonably soon, probably in 4 or 6 weeks.
Well, I mean, just while Ali's away, I mean, and just to make sure, I tried to capture most of that.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking notes.
But I mean, yeah, as you said, we're basically looking to sort of build the culture understanding around like expectations and things. Hopefully, you know, just build a little bit more investment and commitment in it. So talking about being mindful of people's commitments and investments already. Yeah, having to sort of understand the nature of the program itself, having more frequency with mentees around feedback with more regular sort of blog posts, which I think is also great to like perhaps identify other sort of sticking points. Like if there's things that we're not sort of flagging until halfway through the program, and they're sort of saying, like, I'm, you know, 3 weeks in, I'm still really confused about this, or, you know, perhaps there's already sort of starting to be, you know, flags or issues that are popping up early that we can potentially sort of jump on quicker. I think, you know, opening up that, you know, those lines of communication and providing response early is yeah, makes perfect sense. Monitoring sort of what's going on in GitHub for similar sorts of things, and yeah, doing something, as you said, to work together around perhaps contingency plans with submissions and all that sort of stuff. Because yeah, obviously historically there's been issues with even being able to like release payments and all those other things that mentees are reliant on as well. So I mean, definitely we could be helping with that sort of thing. Is
Yeah.
Did you have some specific sort of like approaches or things in mind to help doing that? Like, I mean, you sort of talked about perhaps having sessions or whatever to, like, with mentors to help outline that sort of stuff openly. Some things open, some things perhaps directly. Like, do you have other examples about how to start implementing those things?
Well, no, these are some of the ideas that I've been sort of cultivating over the last 3 weeks over conversations with folks at KubeCon and Summer of Code Mentor Summit, as well as working with folks, even having discussions at other conferences I've had that got nothing to do with the CNCF specifically. It's just oh, I think we lost. Oh, here we go. I know. I never. When multiple people drop, I'm never sure if it's me in the process of dropping or if it's that other folks have dropped. But yeah, so these are some of the ideas that I've got, and I'm wondering if, like, I also don't want to come down as too draconian on this, because I really do want to encourage people to do these things, right? Like I want to encourage mentors. I want to encourage mentorship, and I'm almost wondering if, like, we sort of position it as like, for some of these mentors, right, they're doing it on their sort of company dime, as it were, right? There are companies paying them to do work on open source things, which by extension is their company paying to have these folks coach newcomers into the program, and there's an advantage to those companies, right? Like they're getting a piece of work done on a piece of software that they're depending on. There's an opportunity for growing a mentee, right? And growing a mentee in with your employee on stuff that you're working on means potentially that's a recruitment opportunity later down the road, right? So it's not just that the mentors are getting something out of it, like their companies are also getting something out of it. And I'm wondering if that's something that we remind folks of to help them. But like I said, I don't like I'm trying to think of proactive ways, because I don't want to be in a position where I have to use, like I much prefer carrot to stick, I guess is what I'm saying. Like I want to make sure that we're not overloading people. Like if we implement all of these things, is that too much? But I also don't want to be in a position where I have to tell a mentor potentially that they can't participate next year or next term, right? That's not helpful necessarily either. So like this is sort of like the balance I'm talking about, and I think that I like these are some of the things I'd like to codify in an org admin guide, where we can say, okay, here's the run book, like here's what we do, and how it should go.
Yeah, I think just outlining that sort of stuff is going to be beneficial, because remember they only see it from their side of things. Like we had the benefit of being able to see all the moving parts and being able to articulate some things that they, just might not have been able to sort of, oh, true, that makes sense. Didn't even think of that sort of way. So I don't think if your concerns around sort of, they said, being draconian or coming across like we're trying to crack the whip about things, I think it's just having to understand, like, this is the nature of the how everything sort of works. Our role to play in it is to serve and support you guys to make sure that everyone, like I said, whether it's benefiting the mentors or the companies, the mentees themselves, that goes as well as possible. So I think if we sort of stick to that basic sort of idea, I hope people sort of appreciate where we're sort of coming from, as opposed to being like, get this on time, or punitive disciplinary that, so.
Well, that is kind of true, but I don't think anyone from, for example, Google Summer of Code, like mentors, or mentees, they don't really go and read the admin guide. But if we can create some other document, like these are our expectations, something like more like a mentor guide.
Yeah,
that would be more beneficial, right? Because right now we don't have a mentor guide actually for Google Summer of Code, but we have an admin guide, which kind of documents our roles as Google Summer of Code admins. So that's still in the backlog.
Point.
Agreed.
And about the mentoring session, I like that idea. So I'm running another mentoring program in Turkey locally to introduce people to open source software. And we're always doing that. Like before the term, this is our second term, but before the term, we have 2 sessions, one for mentees, one for mentors. And then we record, and then we send to people who are, well, actually, you know what? We do 4. One for mentor candidates, so people with proposals, etc. And then mentee candidates. And then once they're accepted into the program, actually, and, we match them with mentee and mentor, we then do another 2 sessions to inform them. That is like exhausting, but it is worth it, because you also build this connection, so they kind of people feel like they belong to this community and they do better jobs. It's not just about informing them, but also building that connection.
Yeah, I think you're right with building. Like I use the term cohort. I think that's sort of a good sort of term for that type of thing, because we're saying, okay, these folks are all going to go through the same process together at the same time. Now, for what we're doing,
Sorry, guys, I
wonder
got
if
to drop off, but thank you for this, and I'll check back in with you guys again soon.
right on. Thanks for coming by, Jay.
Cool, catch you.
Thank you.
I wonder if we do 4, that is North America time zones for mentors, APAC time zones for mentors, North America mentees, APAC mentees. I would still like to try and get everybody together, like mentors and mentees. I don't know what the upper limit for Zoom is, but if I could get 50 people on a call, I think that would be entertaining. Just because I think that I think you're right. I think having like maybe a pre-meeting with just the mentors might be worthwhile, to give them sort of, again, the like, okay, what's the role responsibility? What are the expectations, right? Because they're the ones that are going to be coaching the mentees. And then we have one at the beginning as a kickoff. Okay, everybody, or maybe 2, we have like everybody North America, everybody APAC time zones, so that everybody who's in those spaces can sort of recognize, okay, well, this is the cohort. So that's potentially something we could do. But I think what it does is it increases our sort of visibility, and like right now, I send out a lot of emails, and for instance, right now I've got 7 of 40 odd reviews done, and they're due tomorrow. Now they're due tomorrow, so like I wouldn't expect them to all be in, but I would expect more than we've got now, especially with Thanksgiving coming. That said, hey, please. Actually, I think Ali, are you on the email list for this set of mentees? I think you're on are you a mentor for one of the projects? I can't remember.
No, not this term.
Not this term. Okay, so I wouldn't expect you to get that email then. Yeah, I'm afraid of over emailing, and I think that if we did a sort of a face-to-face, that again sort of is like, oh, it's an email from Nate or Ali. Okay, we gotta pay attention to this, but without having my sort of that introduction to begin with, that might be part of what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah. So overall, I like the idea. We should really think about the numbers though, like, because we have at least two time zones. We have 4 programs. I mean, like 3 LFX terms, 1 GSOC. So that's like 4 sessions each. And if you want to separate mentors, mentees, that's a lot of sessions.
That's a lot of sessions.
Year.
I don't think I do want to separate the mentors and mentees. I think I do want to get everybody in on one if we can. But
yeah.
But then like the time zones, like I don't want anybody to have to be up at 4 a.m. That's just not kind.
So that needs some thinking, I think. But overall, it's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any other thoughts we have on this before we move on to the next? I'm just cognizant of time. We're already half past the hour, so.
I mean, there are more stuff here, like mentees to create blog posts.
Yeah.
I also think this is a good idea, but it shouldn't be weekly or something. It's a lot of work, I think.
It's a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be a lot of work. It could be, oh, I did this and this and this, right? The trick is getting something set up that everybody can use without having to set up a website, right? So if their blog is like a dev log, where it's like, oh, I've got a README in my repo, and it's just natesexperiences.md, right? You open up a PR, you tag yourself and myself on that PR. That's a blog post as far as I'm concerned, right? Like that can be fairly straightforward, but that might be in lieu of having better monitoring of GitHub commits and such like that, right? What I'm trying to find out with that suggestion is whether or not the mentees and mentors are in touch with each other. Like what is actually happening, what's going on, and making sure that we get ahead of issues before they but ahead of things before they become issues is what I'm thinking of with that.
So so I have two more ideas that are kind of related, similar.
Okay.
So in this other program, again, we ask people to share a Google document with us, and we expect them to write something there every week. Here it could be hard because we want the notifications. We don't want to go and check 50 people and check their 50 Google documents. We have limited numbers here in this
Right.
other program, so I can do that manually. Maybe a Google form or something, like a weekly or bi-weekly check-in Google form that they need to fill in. For example, I'm a CNCF ambassador, right? So I have to fill a form every month. If I
Right.
don't, I don't know what happens if I don't, but there's a spreadsheet. So
Katie will
when
be sad. You don't want to make Katie sad. Katie will get sad. You don't want to make Katie sad.
yeah.
So you can fill out the form. I
So
don't think
yeah,
anybody cares if Nate is sad.
so I fill that form, and magically, there's another spreadsheet. So my the notes I enter goes to that spreadsheet, and you can easily see, like, but so that is easy, but the real kind of harder part is how to merge all these different forms, like different weeks and etc. So there is some technicality there, I think,
Right.
but that could be another option to, hey, what did you this week? What did you do this week? Can you send us a PR? We don't actually go and check the PR. Can you tell or write us a link for the PR that you created, for example, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Katie is not going and checking every single thing that we post. So it's a similar thing. It's like
It's looking for the negatives, I think.
Yeah.
That's the way I would sort of. I'm sure she reads some of them. I can't speak for her, but I'm sure that what is happening there is if somebody misses a few in a row, that's a flag, right?
Yeah.
So and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for flags that we can use, and none of these are like this is all ideation, right? Like we can as we write up the guide, we can figure out what is it like, and we can test these things too. Right? We run three programs a year. We can run it differently each time to see what's working and what's not. So So what else do we want to talk about? And that sort of speaks to the oversight. Do you have
GitHub
any
Actions, monitoring GitHub Actions to identify potential sticking points. I missed that one, sorry.
That's an interesting idea, actually. I don't think that's monitoring GitHub Actions. I think that's monitoring GitHub activity.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So basically kind of monitoring, asking for GitHub username of the mentees and checking what kind of activities they have. Yeah.
And that's something I've been trying to do anyway. I've got, I think, all but 2 of our mentees GitHub handles. And I feel like that's something we can require on the LFX side, saying, hey, if you don't have a GitHub handle, sorry, you can't be accepted. Right? Just everything goes through GitHub. There was a time where maybe that didn't have to happen, but
definitely. We can ask that. I mean, even for Google Summer of Code, I think we can kind of ask that. Google Summer of Code is like more, I don't know the correct word, Like you cannot do whatever you like there. You cannot ask
No.
extra information or something, but you can definitely ask the GitHub
yeah,
handle.
yeah, exactly. Well, this is some of the things like Google Summer of Code doesn't have this like tardiness issue that we have, and I'm trying to figure out part of why. And I think I know part of why. Google carries a big stick, and they'll eject an org for a project missing a deadline. Now, I don't think that we can do that at the CNCF level.
Mhm.
Ejecting a project would be a dire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to figure out other options for trying to figure out how this is going to go.
Yep. So yeah, overall everything is great. We just need to figure out how to do them like details, and we
Yep.
can do that later.
Yep. All right. Moving on to the next part of our agenda here. Where are we at? End of term 3 is coming up. I did give a couple of projects an extension to November 29th. But the last day of the term is the 30th, and I don't like going past the last day of the term, just because we're getting into December here. There's nothing. It's hard to go past the end of the term. People have like people when people sign up to be a mentor or a mentee, we're saying, okay, this is the time zone, and if we're going past the end of the term, then we're asking more from people than in the case of the mentees than what we're paying for, or in the case of the mentors, what we said was the deal, right? So I don't like going past the end of the term for those reasons. But we did have I think 6 projects request. I can't remember exactly the ones. I can get the list if you need it, but there's several projects that are asking for that extra week, so I've given them that, and hopefully that means that we will have those ones at least come in on time. We'll see. But yeah, the end of the term is coming up real quick, and one of the things. I'm not going to say exactly what it is yet because I still want it to be a surprise. And if folks are watching this before it gets sent out there, we're doing a little digital gift for our mentors this semester, and hopefully moving forward. And I'll be less cagey about that once it goes out. But I'm very pleased with what we're doing. Again, we're asking the mentors to do a lot of work, and I want to get into the habit of saying thank you more and more often. And so we'll be doing like I said, a little digital gift for the mentors this term, and hopefully that'll be an ongoing thing that we can say thanks with. Depending on how successful it is. So the other thing is archiving. Actually, before we go on, anybody want to talk about the end of the semester?
I am a bit disconnected with LFX, especially term
That's
3 or
fair enough.
term. Yeah. So,
Well, yeah, if you're not involved in it. Yeah. I've opened up a PR. Has it been approved yet? Oh, it's already been. Has this already been? Oh, I guess it got merged. Did it get merged? Am I looking at a? Oh, I'm looking at an issue, not a. I opened up a PR for. I've linked the wrong issue is what I've done. Here, let me change that in the agenda here. No, is that not doing what I want to do? I've opened up a PR to archive the Google Summer of Code stuff. Not Summer of Code. Why do I never say it right? There's the issue, and I've opened up a PR to actually do the archiving. That's there. The program is finished now, and while we're not going to be supporting it, just to put it on the record, on the tape, as it were, we're not going to be supporting it through the mentorship program anymore, the mentoring working group, so we should archive it. I've got a PR open to do that. So if you could take a look at it and do an approval. I probably will actually be supporting it through the Tech Docs program, but it'll likely be a lot more individual than even it was with this term, this program through the last term. So that's that. And then every year, moving on, unless somebody wants to.
No, all good, all good.
Oh.
I'll review the PR
I
soon, hopefully.
appreciate that. No rush on that. PR, I just wanted to close that loop because we had discussed it
Yeah.
a few months ago. Every year in January, Shua Khan, one of the Linux fellows at the Linux Foundation, who is a maintainer on the kernel and runs a lot of the mentorship activity at the Linux Foundation level, does a virtual mentorship showcase. And I don't have the details on that yet, and I may not before our next meeting. I may or may not, I don't know. So I'll try and keep folks informed of what that is and when the CFPs are for that. But essentially what it is, we invite all of the LFX mentees from across the Linux Foundation. So that's going to be your Hyperledger, that's the CNCF, the kernel, basically anybody who's participated as a mentee. This is an opportunity for them to put a 10-15 minute talk together about what they've done, maybe even longer. It may actually be like a 30-minute slot. And it's good sort of practice for the mentees, for responding to CFPs for other things. It's a good opportunity. They're recorded, so it's a good sort of piece of work for them to put in their portfolios to say, hey, this is what I worked on, so on and so forth. And then there are a couple of sort of invitational slots. I think that folks who aren't mentees but who have something interesting to say to mentees might be invited to have a chat or a talk placed in there. And I think Diane Muller may be interested in doing one of these sort of guest slot type things. So that's going to be coming up. Usually it's mid to late January. So there's still a little bit of time, but they'll probably be doing the CFP sometime in December. So we may need to do an email blast to all of our previous mentees for LFX. So that's not going to include Season of Docs or Summer of Code folk. That's just going to be that's just an LFX program. So that's that. That's
only
our agenda for today.
mentees?
Oh, go on.
Like only mentees, or also something for mentors?
It's historically only been mentees. It's the mentee showcase, and so it's
Yeah.
Again, it's a lot of trying to help mentees build out their portfolios, get time in front of potential employers. It's not exactly a job fair because it's a virtual conference, but it usually runs 2 days. It usually runs like 48 hours, like because everyone is in their own time zone. We try to actually run the conference so that like it's nuts. I don't know how Shua does it, but it's so that's it's kind of a neat idea. But the idea is to give mentees something that they can sort of point to as like not only did they do the work, they also got accepted into a conference to discuss the work, and then you put that on the resume.
Nice. That's cool.
Hopefully,
I think I've seen one, but I'm not sure if it was this event or something else. I know someone who now works for Red Hat was doing some of these in one of the past years, where she showed what she has done with Kubernetes, and it was pretty cool. And I was even kind of referencing her for a job at Red Hat, so that
Good,
actually
good,
works,
good.
I think.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And that's yeah. And that's part of, I think, why Diane wants to be a part of it too, because part of the research that we've been doing is like when there are certain things that mentees can do that make them more successful in their job search, right? Of updating LinkedIn, making sure that their resume is up to date, making sure that they've got like a GitHub profile that isn't just like a default GitHub profile, things like that. Doing things like this, like participating in these types of things, are all ways to become more successful, and we can sort of show that, we can provably show it. So it's sort of one of those things that we want to share out. So
Yep.
that's part of the idea. Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So that being the end of our agenda, and we've got about 5 minutes left on the call. Is there anything that we missed? Anything that anybody wants to bring up?
I kind of remember now, Google Summer of Code next year is announced, so we can already
Yeah,
start
so-
preparing
Yeah.
to get some proposals.
Do we? Yeah, you're absolutely right. We should start the plan for that. When is the CFP? Do you know off the top of your head? Because
No.
we want. Yeah, I don't remember either, but I don't know that we want to start. Wow, do we want to start before January? I feel like if we start now, it's too early.
Yeah, we don't need to start
But
now. It would be really
Yeah.
too early. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt, but it's like unnecessary, I think.
Yeah. An availability note, I'll be off between, well, first off, I'm traveling from November 30th to December 7th. Then I'll be back in the office for about a week, and then I'll be off after the 15th, December 15th, and I'll be back on January 15th. So I'm going to be taking quite a bit of time off over the winter here. So some things we may have to plan for, just to make sure that, like for instance, I think I'll probably be off for the bulk of the planning for this virtual mentorship showcase, unless they put it in like week 3 or 4 of January. So I may have to ping some folk for help on reaching out to people.
Yeah, I can definitely help there. The only problem is LFX. I still don't have access to it.
Well,
so
and once
still on you.
Yeah, once we get that PR merged in and you officially become a co-chair, one of the things I'll do is actually invite you to some of the Google Drive folders that we have for mentorship. That way you've got some of the access that you'll need in order to do that sort of thing. And the other thing is I may actually ask somebody on the Linux Foundation side, someone like Rion or potentially Shalea, to help with that email blast, just to make sure that it gets out if I'm not able to be there to do it. Yeah.
Sounds good. That would be good, I think. It would be also like, yeah, less work for you.
Which I always appreciate.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. Always a pleasure, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.